What's up team, this is Albert, your nutrition coach, AA Fitness, back with another video, and I'm going to get onto the topic very quickly. The 3 easy steps to losing fat and gaining muscle for you, but I'm just going to very quickly explain what's going on here. And the reason it's in portrait mode is because it's one of the qualifiers I did for when I did the individual comp at Strength in Depth this year, which was an absolutely brilliant comp. And I'd just like to show you some qualifier workouts that I do when I'm doing a topic to do with fat or nutrition or something, just to give you guys a bit of an insight into my own training. So just to explain the workout very quickly, you are seeing 15 clean and jerks at 60 kilos straight into 9 bar muscle ups, then 12 clean and jerks at 60 kilos into 6 bar muscle ups, and then 9 clean and jerks at 60 kilos into 3 bar muscle ups as quickly as possible. Then when you hit the 7-minute mark, you have 4 minutes to establish a 1 rep max. So what I'm going on to talking about today is my 3 easy steps to losing fat and gaining muscle. Now, you who's watching this, you might be at a certain stage of your training, so there is going to be a point in these 3 easy steps which you fit into. It might be the very beginning because you're at the very beginning of training, but you might have been training for a few years, so you actually might already be on stage 2. So what I'm talking about, the 3 easy steps is a building phase, then a dieting phase or fat loss phase, and then a recomp phase. And this is looking at training across kind of, I would say, a 5 to 7 year period and beyond, because I'm 11 years into training and still in kind of the 3rd stage and will be in the 3rd stage for forever. But I'll just explain it as I go along. So first of all, the building phase. A lot of people are going to be approaching training from different stages. So what I mean is that there'll be somebody who starts training who has come from an overweight background. So for them, they can be more in a calorie deficit to start with. Not too severe, I wouldn't recommend, just because you're starting to implement training and that's going to be new to the body anyway. So a little bit of a calorie deficit below maintenance, just roughly a couple of 100 calories. And talking about calories and nutrition, I will be referring to that throughout this video, but I've got previous videos going more in detail about how to work out your calories, which I'll leave in the YouTube description. A lot of people with training are going to be either coming from a more skinny background, or you're going to be somebody who's got a healthy BMI. You look very lean, like with clothes on and stuff, but then when you take your shirt off, you actually don't have much muscle on you. And normally the expression used is skinny fat. Basically, you are lean but don't have much muscle on you and you want to build some muscle. So throughout the building phase, in my opinion, that should be roughly 2 to 3 years. You are implementing consistent weight training. That could be 3 times a week, all the way up to 4, 5 or 6 times a week, depending on your schedule and how you like to plan your training. But what you should be doing is a lot of compound movements, focusing on progressive overload, enjoying training, but doing lots of different movements, but the main ones being the compound lifts. Compound lifts being like the bench press, your barbell back squat, your deadlift, your standing overhead barbell military press. You can use dumbbells as well, but I prefer a barbell as a compound movement. But you can use both. So you're doing that consistently. Let's take the person who's coming more from a skinny fat. So they might be a healthy BMI, but they're skinny fat. So what I recommend this person do is not worry too much about dieting at the moment. Just think about maintenance calories. Get used to just tracking your calories a little bit. Not saying you're going to have to track calories forever, but just getting used to basically tracking maintenance calories for a little while and doing consistent training. Because the stimulus with weight training is going to be new to the body, your body is going to respond. And in the first few years of training, you are going to build the most muscle and see the most changes in your physique. So I basically 2 to 3 years, consistent training, maintenance calories, making sure that you get a good amount of protein in a day, 0.8 grams to 1 grams of protein per pound of your body weight, and just keep consistently doing that as much as possible. Obviously, we all go on holiday, there's Christmas, there's birthdays and stuff. But just be as consistent as you can throughout the year, maintaining a healthy relationship with training and balance with your lifestyle and stuff. Then after 2 to 3 years, you're going to move on to the dieting/fat loss phase. I don't like the word dieting really because it suggests that you're going into a big diet, but you're not going into a big diet. Because what I'm anticipating at this point is that, you've gained some muscle. You might even find that you've gained some weight, and there's nothing wrong with gaining weight very slowly across the first 2 or 3 years of training. You might do that even coming from the healthy BMI, maintenance, slightly skinny fat. So let's say that you were 11 stone, and then throughout these 2 to 3 years, you've gained 1.5 stone, and you're up to 12.5 stone, and let's say you're roughly about 15-16% body fat. And now you want to get down to the 10% body fat range, or maybe 11 or 12% body fat. Then what I recommend you do is then at that current point in time, you get your height, your weight, your current activity level, your gender, and then work out your maintenance calories, and then subtract 200 from that to start with. So let's say 3,000 calories is your current maintenance, go to 2,800, and then you stay there for the first few weeks. And what might happen is that you go out to eat sometimes, you may go over your calories. That just means on other days, try and go under your calories a little bit to balance it all out. But anyway, you might find that you lose a couple of pounds the first week, maybe a pound the second week, half a pound the third week. In the fourth week, you might lose nothing. And then what I recommend you do is even just reduce it by about 50 calories to start with, or even 100 calories. Depends on, the idea is that you don't want to lose weight quickly. You want to lose weight very gradually, because the more gradual you are with losing weight, the more you're going to be able to target fat loss. And in the long run, the more you're going to be able to retain the muscle mass that you've just worked so hard to build across that first 2 or 3 years. So nice and steady. So let's say you're at 2,800, and then after week 4, you drop to 2,750, and then stay there for a bit. Nothing happens again. Then after about week 5, when you've lost no weight again, you might lose weight though. So it might be week 6, let's say. Then you do a refeed day. Refeed day is when you spike your calories, 400-500, back to maintenance. Because basically when you're in a deficit, you are not going to be producing hormones at a normal rate, just because when you're in a deficit every single day, your body's just become less and less efficient, including the fat-burning hormone leptin. So after 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks of being in a deficit, you'll definitely be due your first refeed day. And they become more frequent the more you get into lower body fat percentages. But I'm not going to go into too much detail there, because I'm talking about these 3 easy steps. So refeed day, 400-500, so 2,750 goes up to roughly 3,150-ish, 3,200. Then after that 1 day of doing that, then you then go back down to 2,700 calories and see what your body does. And what should happen is that you should start to see some more weight loss progress again, and fat loss progress. Then basically keep going through that process. Refeed days may become more frequent as you get towards the lower body fat percentages, as I said. And then when you reach that, say 10% body fat, let's go with that. So you started off training from day 1, 11 stone. And then after 3 years, you've hit, let's say, 12 stone and a half. And then after the starting phase, you've reached 11 stone and a half. So you've lost a stone. So that means that you've built quite a significant amount of muscle, of course. I'm just doing some example numbers here. And then after that, what I'd recommend you do is then go into the third phase, the recomp phase. So then you start slowly implementing calories again. So what you might do, if you were dieting on 2,000, like you ended your diet on 2,200 calories, then when you're going into the recomp phase, increase that by 200, let's say. So 2,400. Stay there for a little while, couple of weeks, see what your body does. Then after that, try 2,500. And then I'd recommend increasing your calories by 100 every month. See what happens to your body. And then what will happen is you'll start to eventually gradually gain weight. We don't want to gain weight too rapidly, like a pound, 2 maximum pounds a month. And then what might happen is you get to the 12 stone mark from 11.5 stone, even maybe 12 stone 2, and then you're like, my body fat's a little bit higher, say like 12-13%. I'm just going to diet down a little bit. So what I recommend you do then is then subtract 100 calories, stay there for 4 weeks. And what I've always found is that the body composition after 4 weeks can really change, and lower is what I mean, by just literally taking away 100 calories. It's crazy kind of how the body reacts to calories is quite incredible. So do that, and then stay in that, that calorie level for about 4 weeks. And then what you might find, body fat reduces, and then you can implement calories again. So you add the 100 calories back for, say, 3 weeks, then add another 100 calories for, say, 3 weeks. And then basically what should happen is that you, say, started the recomp phase 2,400, and then you went to 2,500 after a few weeks, 2,600 for a few weeks, 2,700 for a few weeks, and then you want to recomp a little bit, so you go back down to 2,600, and then you stay there for a few weeks, about 4 weeks, let's say, and then you go 2,007 to 8 to 900, then maybe bring that back down again. I'm not saying after a few years you're going to be eating 5,000 calories a day, because you do hit the ceiling at some point. But this is just what I'm saying is that you'll then start just to learn your body more, get to know your body, and you'll even at like my level, when you're about 11 years into training, you're going to get to a point where you don't really need to track your calories. But I'm not saying you ever need to track your calories. I just think it's really good for somebody to get an idea of calories, portion sizes, and in my opinion, to get to low body fat levels, I think you really should track your calories, just because it makes it way easier. If you do have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm always happy to answer and happy to help. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.